Lee walks into an open field where the air is thickened with fear and filled with pressure that matches the crushing weight of the depth of the sea, where every second and every breath could be his last. This is the boiling point of the movie Civil War. A simple question and an answer that you had no choice in making, and without a doubt, this is the most gruesome scene in the history of cinema. In Civil War, Plemons Garland crafts one of the most chilling interrogation scenes in modern cinema. Not with explosions or dramatic monologues, but with a quiet, suffocating tension that seeps into every frame. This isn't just dialogue, it's a loaded weapon, one that Jesse Plemons' character wields with terrifying ease. Let's break down how this scene turns subtlety into sheer psychological horror. The world of Civil War is one of chaos, where the essence of American society has unraveled into violence, division, and fear. Where the country is no longer united because it is fractured and torn apart by a conflict that has blurred the lines between friend and enemy. In this dystopian world, survival is no longer about ideology, it's about power. Amidst this crumbling nation, we follow Lee, a hardened war photographer traveling with her crew, Joel, Sammy, and Jesse, as they document the devastation firsthand. Their journey is not just about capturing history, it's about surviving it. From the moment they leave New York, every step they take forward is a step deeper into a country that no longer feels like home. The roads are desolate, the cities are war zones, and the people are desperate, dangerous, or both. As they move south, they encounter evidence of the country's collapse. Abandoned cars, ruined towns, mass graves. The government's grip is slipping, and in the power vacuum, local militias, rogue factions, and warlords have taken control. The idea of a safe zone is a myth. No place is untouched by the war. Each stop along the way chips away at the illusion that things might get better. They witness civilians executed in the streets, entire towns emptied as if their residents vanished overnight. At one point, they're even caught in the middle of a skirmish between opposing forces, barely making it out alive. This isn't a war with rules. It's a slow, merciless disaster, breaking down everything they once knew. And nothing could prepare them for what happened next. The scene opens with the camera zooming out of the pit and directly into the characters. You can see Plemons pouring something on the deceased bodies, and one thing that's quite eye-catching are the people standing, and you can visibly see them trembling with fear. The atmosphere of this scene is so thick with tension and fear that even your very bones would groan under the weight of it if you stood there. When Lee and two others walk into the scene, they come with the savior effect. The mood lightens up as we hear their lowly, elated voice and the lightness in their tones. Lee speaks with faith and hope in his tone, with every question thrown at him. You could hear his faith break down little by little. Garland makes an intentional choice to keep the camera tight, closing in on the characters as if the walls themselves are pressing inward. Jesse Plemons is often positioned to the left of the frame, a subconscious visual cue that reinforces his dominance and authority. Our brains process images left to right, meaning figures on the left feel more powerful. This simple framing trick makes Plemons feel immovable, in total control, before he even speaks. Meanwhile, his captives are filmed in centered close-ups, their faces stripped of any protective distance. There's nowhere to hide, nowhere to look but into the cold reality of their situation. Cinematography in Civil War is definitely not just about the visuals, it's about psychological warfare. Every frame in this scene is carefully constructed to heighten tension and reinforce the power dynamics. Garland traps the characters in close-ups, removing any sense of personal space. The victims are framed dead center, with the camera lingering on their expressions. Fear, hesitation, the realization that they might not survive this. There's nowhere to look, nowhere to escape. The audience is forced to sit in that tension, feeling every second stretch unbearably long. In this scene, the reporters tried to convince Plemons that the two people he has hostage are also Americans. But Plemons is not new to the business. He doesn't call out their bluff. he doesn't change his expression. No short, no revelational expression, just a bland look on his face. We can't tell if he's believing or we can't tell if he's calling out their lie. Until he finally breaks the silence with a shot.
This guy's your colleague? This guy here?
Yes, sir. He's my...
This scene doesn't rely on an intense score to create fear. Instead, it uses silence as a weapon. Take the moment when one of the captives jokes about hiking in Charlottesville. Plemons doesn't react violently. He doesn't even change his expression, but he adjusts his grip on his gun. His finger rests on the trigger just a fraction longer than before. It's a detail so subtle that your brain registers it before you even consciously process it. And that's what makes it genius. It taps into something primal, our ability to detect danger even before it fully materializes. Let's talk about those sunglasses. Bright red, unblinking, a solid wall between us and any trace of humanity behind them. Red is the color of danger, aggression, and warning signs. The moment we see them, we know this man is a threat. But the deeper genius is that his eyes are hidden. Eyes are the gateway to a character's emotions. Strip that away, and you strip away their humanity. This is a classic villain technique. Think Anton Chigurh's dead stare in No Country for Old Men. But here, the sunglasses take it even further. They turn Plemons into something unreadable, unknowable, and that makes him even scarier. This does two things. It removes any trace of emotion, making him unreadable, and it contrasts with the victims, whose fear is fully visible. Before a single word is spoken, you can hear the faintest environmental noises. A creak of a chair, a distant gust of wind. These tiny sounds do something genius. They amplify our focus. By stripping the scene of music, Garland forces us to hang on every word, every breath, every hesitation. And then there's Jesse Plemons' voice. He doesn't shout, he doesn't raise his tone. Instead, he speaks with a measured, polite calmness. The contrast between his control and the victim's growing panic makes him even more terrifying. The most chilling moments are the executions. There's no dramatic buildup, no swelling music, just a gunshot that shatters the silence. It's loud, abrupt, and final. And the way the sound echoes in the empty space makes it feel even more disturbing. Then, silence again. This is how Civil War weaponizes sound. It doesn't overwhelm you. It makes you wait, makes you anticipate, and then hits you with cold, brutal reality. The moment that cements this scene as pure nightmare fuel is when Plemons pulls the trigger.
Oh, China.
No hesitation, no build-up, just a mechanical execution. Casual, unremarkable, the way you'd flick a light switch. And that's why it's terrifying. There's no rage, no enjoyment, just a man doing his job, which happens to be deciding who lives and who dies. If he had relished in it, it would have been evil. Instead, he treats it as routine, and that's something much, much worse. The scene's tension isn't just in the words, it's in the tiny, nearly imperceptible movements. Unlike most interrogation scenes that rely on dark, moody lighting, Civil War does something different. It keeps the lighting natural and neutral. There's no dramatic overhead shadows, no flickering lights. Instead, the scene is bathed in soft, even daylight. And that makes it even scarier. Why? Because it removes the theatricality of violence. In most thrillers, darkness provides a sense of mystery, an expectation of something lurking in the shadows. But here, the violence is out in the open, with no cinematic tricks to soften it. The brutality feels real, unfiltered. This lighting choice is what makes the scene so unsettling. It doesn't let you escape into cinematic fantasy. It grounds the horror in a reality that feels disturbingly possible. One of the most brilliant aspects of this scene is how movement is almost non-existent. Jesse Plemons doesn't pace. He doesn't fidget. He doesn't lean forward threateningly. Instead, he remains completely still, his body language eerily relaxed. Why does this work? Because in real life, stillness isn't normal in moments of high tension. Our bodies naturally react to stress, Tense shoulders, rapid breathing, clenched fists. The victims show these signs. Plemons does not. This is what makes his presence so terrifying. His control is absolute. Even when he pulls the trigger, there's no change in his posture. No flinch. No reaction. Then there's the victims. Watch how they shift uncomfortably, their hands twitching slightly. This is the point where the cavalry comes, and even when it arrives, the tension does not break. We see the car run into Plemons and the girl. They both fall into the pit, and this only piques the tension. And for a moment there, do we expect him to jump right up and start spraying bullets at everything and everyone that's breathing? Or does he cling onto the girl with him and use her as leverage? That effect is called a pregnant pause, or lingering aftermath. It's when the film intentionally holds on to a moment of silence or stillness right after a major event, giving the audience time to process the impact and speculate on what comes next. This technique actively creates tension, emphasizing the emotional weight of the event, or let viewers' imaginations run wild before the story continues. Directors often use it after shocking revelations, deaths, or turning points to deepen engagement. After the event climaxed and they got into the car, then I realized that there's been a psychological effect going on. That effect is called post-shock collapse. It happens when a character is too overwhelmed or stunned to react in the moment, only for the full emotional or physical impact to hit them afterward. Usually, filmmakers use this to show shock, dissociation, or adrenaline-fueled survival instincts. Once the danger or intense moment passes, the character finally processes what happened, collapsing, breaking down, or reacting in a delayed, explosive way. That's what happened when they got into the car and the sound was muffled. The video was shot in tight, and their faces were all roughed up. It was not an easy event to be in, and was not an easy event to sit through. In the Civil War, violence isn't glorified or exaggerated. It's cold, efficient, and disturbingly real. This interrogation scene isn't just a tense moment in the film. It's a blueprint for how to create psychological horror without a single jump scare. What do you think? Does this scene rank among the most unsettling interrogations in modern cinema? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you love deep dives into brilliantly crafted tension, hit that like button, subscribe, and stay tuned. More breakdowns coming soon. This has been Jack, bringing you another cinematic deep dive. Until next time, stay sharp and keep your eyes on the screen.